Hi, thanks everyone. Welcome to the last Next Generation PDF session, where we have a panel of experts where we are going to open the floor up to your questions. Over the past day and a half, you've heard quite a bit about the next generation of PDF, what we know it will be, what thoughts we have on what it might be, how it continues to evolve, and that it is still very much a work in progress. That said, I'd like to introduce our panelists. Ralph Hens, you're the product manager? Yeah, product manager from iText. Leonard Rosenthal, PDF architect and senior principal computer scientist at Adobe. And Boris Dubarov, the owner of Dualab. So I just want to start off with a question I have of my own, if the panel doesn't mind. And we've heard a lot about next generation PDF and about HTML as a flexible and accessible kind of means to express alternate presentations, not just HTML, but the open web platform technologies generally. And the question I'd like to ask is, if we already have HTML and the open web platform to allow for meeting user needs and expectations for reflow and for different presentations, why not just use that? Why not just leave PDF to the static documents that it does so well?
I think it really depends on the use case. There are still many publications or workflows or documents in general where PDF makes sense. So for me, next generation PDF does not have the intention at all to replace HTML or the web currently.
Just a little louder, please.
It doesn't have the intention at all to replace the current web, or as Duff said in the introduction, to be like a website in a can and put everything in a PDF container. But still, in cases where PDF makes sense now, I think it still will make sense in the future. But seeing the evolution that we have seen already and that will still continue in the change how people consume content nowadays, not consume necessarily documents, but content in general, we need to have some additional ways, some additional provisions. And in that case, why not use something that has proven itself already, like the open web platform, instead of inventing something completely new in PDF and even diverge more from what is used nowadays. So in that context, I think it makes sense to try to converge them in cases where PDF made sense in the past and will still make sense in the future. But it's not for me, it's not a choice between next generation PDF or the open web platform. It's not a choice either of the two. I think they will coexist next to each other in the future, and it really depends on what you want to achieve, which technology you will pick.
Yeah, I think Raf said almost everything I would have. The only thing I'll add is, just to harken back to my talk this morning, is that it's about packaging, in that the open web platform technologies are not designed today to be packaged together and sent via what I like to refer to as ad hoc distribution mechanisms. You're not going to send a website via email or Slack or Facebook Messenger or anything like that, but I can do all of those things and more with PDF files. And that means that at the end of the day, I get to choose how I want to distribute my content, not somebody else who said, oh, web pages only can exist on the web, on a server, in somebody else's environment. And so that, to me, is the difference. Obviously all the advantages, as Ralph talked about, for the technologies, but it's really about the distribution mechanism.
Yes, well, I think the difference and the answer lies in the term of PDF. You all know that portable document is still a unique feature of PDF format, which HTML world doesn't have. That's exactly what Leonard was just saying. So web publication format is an attempt to close this gap, but PDF does have it already. So it's just a matter of moving or merging or PDF with an open web platform.
All right, awesome. Thanks, guys. So we'd like to take questions from the audience. Who has a question for the panel? Please, I'll even come to you.
Thank you very much. So, Mike, I'm still not sure how next generation fits it. Is it a subset of PDF 2.0? Is it an extension to PDF 2.0? Will it be PDF 2.1 or PDF 3.0? So what's the plan here? What's your vision?
Well, as far as I understand it, it is just an extension of PDF 2.0. So it's a few extra features you put into, well, PDF 2.0 documents, or can put even into, well, the current PDF 1.7 documents. There is a mechanism of extensions, I think, that's still quite valid for responsive PDF world. And this extra chunk of information will simply define you how web presentation of your document looks like. All the rest just stays the same. So for any viewer that is not aware about the concept of next generation PDF, it's just a plain PDF 1.7 or 2.0 document.
Absolutely, Boris. The one thing I would add is that as far as, where does it fit into the standardization process or the numbering or anything like that, honestly, we don't know yet. This is where, as we've been saying for the last day and a half, we're taking this slowly. Some big changes are here. We know we really only get a chance to do this once, and we want to do it right. And so we're going to take our time. We're going to make sure that we've got everything worked out here within the association and leverage this august body of experts that we've built up over the years here in the association. And when we all are convinced that we've got the right solution, technically and philosophically and marketing, which is why we also have a marketing working group, then that will answer the question, do we take it to ISO, and when and how? And how would we like to see it become a standard? In what way? And so, at the end of the day, Stefan, we don't know. But we'll figure it out, and as a member of the association, I know you happen to be, you'll hopefully be part of the decision making, and we welcome everyone here to be part of that.
All right, thank you. Next question?
Can I ask a question to the audience, or is that not fair?
The audience wasn't fast enough in raising their hand, so that's fair. Go ahead, Leonard.
Right. And so I'm just curious. First of all, thank you all for sitting through our presentations from the last day and a half. Just quick show of hands, and we're not holding any of you to it because the camera is still facing us. How many of you like what you saw with Next Generation PDF? I mean, is this a good idea? Are we on the right track? Just a quick show of hands. We'd like to make sure this has been a worthwhile investment and we should keep going forward. Okay, that's good. Is it just?
We see a lot
I'll
of
go the
hands
other
in
one.
the
Is there anyone in this room that thinks we just? And feel free. We're not going to hurt you. Who feels that we should stop now? And this was just like the worst thing we ever could have done. All right, good. We appreciate that. All right, thank you, Matt, for the opportunity.
So a lot of, wait, okay. Is that a question or a no vote?
Maybe only a comment. So I even think it's
One second.
So I'm not even think that it is only a good idea. I think it is necessary for the format. It's as someone said, it's an evolution, and so it's the next step we have to take, I think.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. And even if the PDF Association or ISO or any organization wouldn't have done nothing, it's quite clear that most companies were, or I know that we were, and from conversations with others, I know that others were also thinking in that direction anyway, coming up with their own solutions to, like, do PDF in the back end or use HTML5 in the front end and combine them in some way. So if we are looking in that direction anyway, of trying to be more adaptable to context, to devices, why not make it a joint effort and do the right thing together instead of coming up with our own solution separately?
Great comment. Other questions?
Yeah,
Other comments?
maybe just a couple of extra comments. Well, probably this was already mentioned yesterday. I wasn't here yesterday, but of course it's just a must, because we all know the statistics that more and more people, probably about 50% now, access internet just from mobile devices. Not even, well, mobile phones to be precise, not even tablets. And having a different, more responsive representation of a PDF would potentially resolve lots of issues in this area. And second, if you just think a little bit about the whole idea of this, well, web presentation of a PDF document, it is already, it's very organic. The structure of a PDF document exists for how many? Well, almost 10 years in the specifications, and the primary use of this was in universal accessibility, like PDF-UA standard is an excellent example, where the structure plays essential role. And there are processors, assistive technologies in particular, that do use the structure to give you an audio presentation of your document. So a visual presentation based on the structure of the document is a very natural and somewhat, I really think this might, that surprises me that we start speaking about this only now.
Thank you. Other questions, comments? I didn't put y'all to sleep earlier, did I? Jeez. Don't tell me the panel's going to get away that unscathed. Oh, okay, 1 second.
Okay, I know you don't have answer for this, but I ask it anyway. About the authoring tools, because that's the big question. If we have this brand new next generation PDF, but we don't have any tools to create those PDFs, so it concerns me a little bit. What is your best guess how it's going to be happen? Is there going to be a bunch of new tools, new softwares that will deal that problem, or is there going to be improvement to existing softwares like Office, Microsoft Office or Adobe softwares that can handle that? What do you think?
Well, I'll probably hand it to Leonard almost immediately, but my question to Leonard would be, how did it happen with PDF 1.0?
And that's an interesting juxtaposition. So the short answer to your question is yes, but obviously doesn't really answer it. We've actually been considering that, of course, from day one, and it's also one of the reasons why we have tried to make it, as the gentleman over there said, evolutionary. This is not about making major changes to the file format. This is about taking things that are already core to PDF, well-structured, semantically rich content, and just doing something more intelligent with it in the viewer and in the processor. So generating tagged PDFs are things you get from applications today, but whether it's Adobe applications like InDesign or our plugins to Word, even Microsoft Word itself, Open Office, free software, libraries like iText. Tagged PDF generation is out there. We've seen many companies here that demonstrate that. That's the core technology. So anybody that's already generating tagged PDF is 90% of the way there, at least in theory. I mean, we still have things to work out in the specifics, but that's the core foundation. What it does mean is that companies, the big change, and this actually goes to Boris's comment, which is interesting. The thing that we did originally with PDF 1.0 to really propagate production was we created the idea of print to PDF. Because if you could print to PDF, which you could print from an application, and that produced a PDF, that was a really easy, lightweight solution to getting PDF out there. And I would say that it's safe to say that that was a huge win early on and for many years in PDF production. That was how most documents were produced. I don't believe it's true today, but for a long time it was. That model actually now needs to die because it's a model that doesn't work in this realm of semantically rich content, because in the print stream, we don't have any content. All we have is a bunch of printing instructions. And that, I think, is going to be the biggest leap for users and possibly even for developers, which is to move from a print to PDF model to what I like to refer to as simply a save as PDF model, where you go from native content to that semantically rich PDF.
I just want to add, I cannot really speak for interactive authoring tools, but looking at the SDKs and the libraries, it's indeed, as Leonard says, it's about tagging and adding the structure and the semantics to documents. So it's not really a big leap for a lot of implementations when they are able to do tagged PDF already. The step towards next generation PDF isn't that big. Of course, looking at automation and automatic generation of documents, we will not have the very fancy, very interactive documents, because looking at automation, you typically look at reports, invoices, bank statements. So it has its limitations, but looking at the non-interactive way of creating documents, I don't think there will be a very big jump necessary to support these new use cases.
If I can take it, I'll take a slight tangent on that, which nobody else has asked about, although maybe it's the next question, so I'll pretend it is, which is creation is great, but at least in our applications, and I suspect in many PDF processing applications, both automated and manual, the thing that is done after you create it is manipulate your content in some way. You combine multiple documents together. You apply comments to a document. In the law industry, you do redaction. And you think about all the tools that products like Nitro and Foxit and Acrobat and whatever have. That is also a big area which we want to explore here in the association, which is to understand what does it mean to do those types of operations on tagged PDF. It's an area, while creation has been a huge area, and there's a lot of companies that do it, manipulation is not. Most companies with PDF tools don't understand how to manipulate or properly manipulate tagged PDF. And we really want to help the industry do that, because obviously it goes hand in hand. You don't want to take all that time and produce a great next generation PDF and combine it with garbage and end up with garbage. So this is another area we really want to explore here in the association going forward.
Yeah, and maybe also, like, again, instead of authoring software, we have to also think about viewers that support this. As soon as there are enough viewers that support the technology, people start caring about how this document is created and styled. The web part of this document. And authoring tools will immediately catch up. And, well, as Leonard already mentioned, so any tagged PDF, in a way, can be considered as a next generation PDF with some kind of default styling. So as soon as the first viewers appear that are able to show this, people start thinking, what do they want from web presentation of these PDF documents?
Thank you. Other questions? One, okay. Front here.
Maybe hard to say for me. I think the authoring tool infrastructure has a chance now with PDF, next generation PDF, to be changed. for example, a small entrepreneur has a brochure made in InDesign or something else, and he directly can have an image website out of it. So a PDF would be the server, for example, for his presentation on the internet already. So he doesn't need to have any WordPress or any other CMS. He just needs this one PDF for his web presentation. And the second thing I think, and I hope, will be that PDF UA will become more and more common and more into the common sense. And how do you see the chance for this additional effort for the people to take PDF UA into respect when creating PDF documents? It will be a question of cost, will be a question of time, and all these things. What do you think about it?
May I take the floor first? Well, it's a very interesting question because that's starting to experiment with the technology. That's the first thing we noticed. We noticed how many tagged PDFs are badly tagged, how many PDF UA documents which pass verification tools are actually not of very high quality. And we simply didn't realize this. And for a very simple reason, in most cases, we don't see a tagged structure. A normal user would never care about the tagged structure and wouldn't see the quality of a tagged structure in the document. So this technology, raises awareness of people what PDF UA is, what it is for, and as a result, I'm pretty sure the quality of PDF, so PDF UA first of all will become more important. Second, the quality of tagging and PDF UA documents will increase considerably because people would get to see immediately that things are wrong.
Yeah, that's, Boris said exactly what I would say on that particular aspect. We really want, we'd like to see that this, again, raises that bar for accessible semantically rich documents, and that really PDF UA becomes a very, very small piece on top of next generation PDF, really to address some of the things that are important to accessibility. For example, alternate text on an image is the one that always comes to mind, that might not be necessary, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but doesn't necessarily have to be there for a next generation PDF. And these are the things that we actually go back and forth on in the committee, is to understand what things, whether we should just say we want to do accessibility also, or we just want to focus on the semantics, and what is that very small delta. So it's just one additional piece there. I do want to go back to the first part of your question, because it's interesting having talked to, as I've said, many users about this over the last year or two. One of the most common things that we hear from users when we talk about these ideas is what, at least in English, we refer to as a leave behind. I don't know how that translates, but the idea that if you're out talking to a client or a customer and you're talking about a product or you're giving a demonstration or a presentation, it's very common to leave behind, hence the term, a document, a PDF usually, of what you've done so that they can refer back to it and give some more thought. And the idea that those leave behinds can now be interactive and that they can be more than just a static document has been extremely exciting to many, many users in many, many work areas that we've seen.
Coming back to your question about UA or about accessibility, looking at the evolution of the mobile web, for example, at first, a lot of companies would only serve their desktop website to a mobile device. They just needed to have some kind of presence on the mobile web. And then you notice that more and more companies start investing in a specific mobile website. And I think, or I hope, that with next generation PDF we could also achieve something similar, where if you look at accessibility for a lot of companies, they, frankly speaking, they don't know or don't care. And they will only do it if it's legally required to make accessible documents. But since documents, even invoices, are often a marketing tool also, it's a way to communicate with your customer. Next generation PDF could be an incentive to also upgrade those documents, and since it's built on concepts that drive reuse, that drive accessibility, I think there could be an incentive also there to not only focus on the legal aspects of being compliant with accessibility rules, but it can also be a commercial incentive to do the right thing.
I would follow up with this and maybe ask you for suggestions. We all in this room are from one community, the PDF community. We do our conversation with our own customers. What would be your suggestions? What shall we do as a first thing tomorrow morning when we talk to our customers? What shall we say? What shall we start doing? What we are not doing right now? And what shall we stop doing in terms of next generation PDF?
I get some sleep tomorrow morning. That's my plan. After that, no, I think it's an excellent question, Roman. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know that we've actually given it much thought. Have you given him? Oh, you've given it? No. You confirm. Oh, good. Okay, great. I feel better now. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I mean, I don't have specifics, but I would say that if you want to start talking to your customers, talk about the things we've talked about publicly. I think, as we've said, the specification itself, it's got a lot of work to be done. We've got, the specifics, the details, the technical bits, are not for beyond the association. We're just too early. But I think if you want to take these core concepts, if you want to talk about the things we've talked about, this idea of richly semantic content and presented using the web and whatever, these core things that like Duff presented on and others have talked about, and go to your customers and ask, like we've, admittedly, like we've been doing, that got us here. I can't see that as a bad thing. I think that's the kind of feedback that's going to help us move the technology forward, because we'll more understand better what customers want, and customers in different segments. I mean, you certainly have customers that are different than mine and different than Boris's and Raf's, and those will be good. The more feedback we get from customers, the better. But again, my recommendation is, and as we do, keep it high. Don't delve in. And I think the opportunities that you and the others attending the hackathon on Wednesday to actually build some solutions and try out some tools and maybe even put together some real world samples that you can even show to customers, I think is going to give us some great opportunities going forward.
Well, speaking about what we can do tomorrow to promote the technology, we are a software development company. So I really consider, I've been thinking about this for a while, that, well, we have to think about risks, of course. What might slow down the adoption of this technology. And to me, one of the risks, technological risks, it's not a marketing risk here, but technological risk is the complexity of PDF document and the derived algorithm and presentation, generating this presentation that is supposed to be identical for all who starts implementing the viewers of this technology. And so I was really thinking that some kind of an open source implementation of this algorithm would really help a lot to make sure we are all doing the same thing. It's just an idea so far.
Yeah, very specifically about next steps, thinking about tomorrow on the hackathon, I had two main goals in mind. First of all, get feedback. I hope some people will attend tomorrow that were not involved in the TWG and that are new to this and were just exposed to this over the past couple of days. So I think getting feedback and getting some kind of validation, or even not validation at all, but just knowing if people think this is the right way forward. That's a very important step. And also, to achieve that step, I hope tomorrow we will be able to build some samples, work together on getting some nice use cases together for, well, conceptually next generation PDFs to drive that feedback cycle.
1 second.
Do you have some ideas for the publishing and printing industry concerning next generation PDF?
I can't imagine in printing that you would use some kind of, let's say, responsive representation. You would probably always want to fall back to the PDF parts, the static representation of the... Excuse me? I mean, you mean not just print publishing, but also like web publishing?
And I think the idea that we have is that you don't have to do that, or I'll rephrase that. You no longer have to do that through two separate means. Today, you generate a PDF and you generate a website or whatever it is you're generating with the web content. Now you can do that once. You can generate that next generation PDF, and only when somebody needs it, maybe you're going to put it on your website or something, you can then take that, use a tool that will produce your website. Or maybe you can just host it directly and your website, it natively supports it and can serve it up. That was, I think Bruno talked about that earlier today as a possibility. So from that particular aspect, just produce a next generation PDF as a one-off. But to answer the original piece, I think our goal has been, because it is PDF, print publishers aren't losing a single thing. They can do all of their spot colors and device ends and crop, bleeds and everything the way they've been doing it for 25 years. We're not changing a single thing about PDF. In that regard, we're just giving them extra capabilities that can be presented so that those documents can work better.
Last years, I had the impression that the validation of PDF documents is a problem. Does the new standard make the situation not even worse? I mean, there are a lot of more features, and to validate those, for example, the reflow in an automatic sense, I think it's difficult.
Yeah, certainly we are entering the territory of validating not just PDF but HTML, and we all know there are quite some technologies already that check your websites for conformance with, I don't know, HTML 4.01 or HTML5 or some other standards. So I believe if somebody wants to have a high quality next generation PDF, then I'm afraid then both things have to be taken care of. The validation of PDF and the validation of the resulting HTML. I don't see any way out of this. The only thing is that you end up with a valid XML document anyway, so that probably helps a little bit. But the rest, I'm not sure.
Well, no, I mean, there's obviously there are features of 2.0 that we are using in next generation PDF. So those are things that wouldn't exist in a 1.7 validator. So you would certainly need, at a starting point, a 2.0 validator. So, and that's certainly something that has been talked about over the last day or so, that the industry in general we need to do. As we move to completing 2.0, we'll need a validator for that as well. Or actually, as there are some for 1.7, and we'll need to move things to 2.0. But that's the basis.
As far as next steps go, the number one thing I can think of that I would like to see to help my customers get their head around all this would be some kind of a proof of concepts kind of thing. It could be barely functional, but whether that's something as simple as a open source derivation algorithm that you can throw a tagged PDF at and it spits out some kind of HTML, and or a very limited, simple mobile reader that lets you toggle between the traditional PDF and the derived HTML. You know, just something that you can show people, because I can't imagine how I'm going to explain this to the designers I work with day in, day out, you know, and I don't really have to yet, but it's going to get to that point eventually, and it'd be nice to have something to show.
Well, the easiest answer would be, please come tomorrow to Hackathon. There will be exactly a couple of, well, 3 actually tools, which are kind of proofs of concept exactly of the kind you are interested in. Not yet open source, but those that would allow you to experiment with the derived algorithm and see, well, just styling. So that's kind of easy. Proof of concept, not production ready, but on proof of concept, I think we are already here. You have something to show to your all potential interested customers.
Just a question, Boris. You said not yet open source. Are there plans to make it open source from your side, but also from the other 2 that are delivering the proof of concepts tomorrow?
Plans, yeah. No commitments so far.
All right, thank you, everybody. That's the time that we have for questions. I'm sorry. But before we close, I just want to get everyone on the panel your last thought or your parting thought, or the one thing that you'd like everybody to leave about knowing about Next Generation PDF.
I think it's very important for all of you, but for, let's say, the world in general, to realize that PDF is not a print format anymore. It's not digital paper. You need to add semantic richness. You need to add structure. You need to make sure that your content is accessible in a machine-readable way, in different ways than only by looking at it. If we can get that message across well enough, I think mainly everything else will follow, be it Next Generation PDF, be it accessibility. If we focus on that future, I think PDF has a very bright future.
And I'll just take the opportunity to remind everyone that this is a community effort. This is not one company or 2 companies going at it alone. This is something that we as the association are driving throughout the PDF ecosystem and the PDF community. And that, you know, we want people involved, we want your feedback, we want your input, and please, if you're already members of the association, join the technical working group or the marketing working group and get involved. If you're not members of the association, you know, please join and help, or just send feedback to any of us involved. We really want this and believe this is a community effort and is coming from all of us.
Yeah, well, that's exactly, Leonard, what I was going to say. So, yeah. So there are lots of technical challenges here on the way. Lots of still uncertainties in technical questions around the standard. So on the coming future standard, future format. So and be sure that's a very fascinating and interesting thing to do. So that's kind of the future of this aspect of PDF is happening right now, and you can join this activity.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you, Leonard. Thank you, Boris. We really appreciate you taking the time to answer our questions. Everyone, please.